to Harville, Israel's facing international condemnation and diplomatic isolation after their botched commando raid on board a Turkish aid flotilla bound for Gaza, which resulted in 9 deaths. The incident has put further stress on the Middle East peace process and heightened tensions between the Netanyahu government of Israel and the Obama administration. Janine Zakaria is the Washington Post Jerusalem bureau chief, and there she is. Janine, thank you so much for staying up tonight over there in Israel. You've already filed your story. Give us the best description you've got so far of what happened on deck of that ship, that Turkish ship.
Well, amazingly, Chris, even 48 hours after the whole incident nearly, we don't have a definitive picture of what precisely happened. The activists who were just starting to be released from Israeli custody or flying home or being deported are saying that the Israelis shot first, either fired warning shots or something else as they approached the ship. And the Israelis have been playing video over and over showing Israeli naval commandos in very dramatic fashion landing on the ship, climbing down a rope from a helicopter, and then being beaten by activists on the ship with different kinds of metal and wood rods and other kinds of weapons.
Yeah, we're looking at that right now. Is there something deceptive about those pictures, or do you think you can get a, well, look at all that mayhem up there. We're watching, obviously, what you've seen, which is all these, this amazing mayhem of people running around surrounding these guys. Let me go over this. What do you think is the main criticism of Israel in this regard by, if there is such a thing, an objective observer? What would be the main criticism?
Well, I mean, Israel's obviously facing a lot of criticism for a lot of different ways they carried out this operation. But I think a lot of people are saying, and the main question is, okay, you want to maintain your blockade of Gaza. Was there a better way to do this? And it's not only internationally that you're hearing that. That's the dominant question here in Israel today. Was there another way to prevent the ship from moving towards Gaza? And one of the things I think it illustrates is both the state of ties between Israel and Turkey. The main ship that was a problem was from Turkey, sent with Prime Minister Erdogan's full support, and Israel wasn't able to persuade Turkey to divert it to the Israeli part in Ashdod, and neither was the United States, Israel's top ally, so the ship came. Second, was there another way that they could have gone about this besides dramatic military fashion, 4 a.m. landing from a helicopter, to a group of people who Israel already knew ahead of time was more radical than other groups from previous flotillas?
Did they have any, they had no intimation, just to get to the technical details. They didn't know these guys would all have knives and clubs, did they? They didn't know that was coming, or crowbars, whatever they're hitting them with.
Well, I just spoke to a very senior Israeli naval commander who said they did in fact anticipate resistance, but they didn't anticipate what the Israelis are calling a lynch involving these different metal batons. I don't know if you're still seeing the pictures.
Yeah, we're looking at it now.
And other kinds of knives. Some of the soldiers were knifed. The Israelis say that of the 20 commandos or so, naval commandos who landed, at least 2 of their guns were taken by the activists, and then the Israelis were shot. So a lot of this is from the Israeli perspective. We haven't had a chance to really confirm it, but a lot of the soldiers are now who participated are in the hospitals with these various kinds of wounds.
I just read your paper's editorial this morning, Janine. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. And your paper's fairly pro-Israeli, as most American papers are. But they made the point that this could move, this incident, and the way it's been portrayed in Israel, and the way it's played politically, could force Netanyahu to move to the center, to form some new coalition that's more like the Israeli public opinion. Is that too much of an expectation politically out of this thing?
Yeah, I see absolutely no sign of this at all. He's got the full backing right now of his right-wing coalition. He even has people in the opposition leader, Tzipi Livni, rallying around Israel's right to prevent these kind of aid flotillas from approaching Gaza. And what's been interesting today, Chris, is that amid all the criticism internationally, perhaps a little breakdown in ties with Turkey, condemnations at the UN, nobody in Israel, really in the mainstream here, is questioning Israel's overall approach to Gaza, something that the United States and everybody wants to see, a reevaluation of the blockade. That's the core problem here. Instead, everybody's focused on the tactical problems Israel had in seizing the ship.
Well, thank you so much, Janine. I didn't like the way that housing decision was made when Joe Biden was over there, when I met you over on that trip, but I think this one is an unfair shot at Israel. Very unfair. And I agree with the Post on this. I'd like to see the government get more moderate, but maybe they're 2 different questions. Anyway, thank you, Janine Zakaria.